Hello all, A Knife's Tale here. And this is not a review or summary or anything, this is kind of a different video. Which, before that, I hope you're all having a good day. Like, subscribe, comment, etc, etc. I greatly appreciate it, and it would help the channel. But this is sort of a follow-up to the video I did yesterday, which was a review of this knife, the Vero Engineering Axon. And it wasn't until I finished that review that I checked the current pricing of these knives, and if you look just at the thumbnail and the title of that previous video, you'll see that I mention it. But it wasn't until then that I mentioned the current pricing, and that's because during the view it was impromptu. It was just sort of grab this knife and talk about my experience with this knife, the issues I've had, the price I paid like 4 or 5 years ago when I got the dang thing. And I was relatively happy with it there, so it doesn't reflect it in the review, but I do think this is something worth mentioning. Because the current price of these things is pretty much... Hold on one second, I have to sneeze. There we go. The current price of these things is not doing it. And I don't want this video to be like anti-Vero or anything. I like their knives. I love my Synapse XL. And it's not going to do any harm to them. I'm just some small channel giving my opinions on things. That's all this is. So, that out of the way, I do feel that it's necessary to say this. And that is that these knives are overpriced. Even with everything considered, these knives really just can't justify the price that they're going for at this point. And that's what led me to making the title of not being happy with the price in the last video. This is an Axon. What is it? It is micarta scales. There is a liner lock in there. It is titanium hardware. But it's just a micarta and M390 liner lock knife. It's very basic. It's very plain. It's very straightforward. There's not a ton going on here. There's no real milling. There's some sculpting, but it's not contoured. And it's very basic. This knife, in its cheapest configuration, which is micarta and stonewash, is like $290-ish. And with the black wash, like this configuration would be something like $310. And they only go up from there. The belt satin, the hand satin, the carbon fiber, up, up, up. And there's a full titanium version that's a frame lock with the stonewash. And I think it starts... I think this is actually... I don't know. I don't know. I had it all pulled up and ready to go, but... You know how these things go. I'm an idiot. So, 1 second again. Okay, lots of interruptions, but I also took the time to check out the pricing. Yeah, it's $290. I was right on the money. And the frame lock variant of it is... The mini version is $300. The frame lock's $295. Base, stonewash, titanium frame lock. And again... These are sculpted, kind of, but there's no milling, there's no major contouring, there's very little going on here. Arguably even less in the frame lock version, as it's just, a basic frame lock knife. But these are $290 and up. Most of the time, you're probably going to get one that's... Unless you like just the basic stonewash or they're in stock and you're okay with just micarta, you're probably going $310, $320, $3 whatever. And that is... Don't get me wrong, I like the minimalist aesthetic. But if you're going to go minimalist, it shouldn't come with the extreme detail price tags, right? Same for this. This thing's like $385, I think. I'll look directly at the $380. $380. The base cheapest version of the Synapse XL is $380. And that would be a stonewash with probably the same configuration I have right here. The hand satin is going to be like $40 or $50 more. Or at least $20. Something. I'm not going to go to that nitty gritty, right? But again, yes, you have a bolster lock kind of style knife, but what are you actually looking at? You're looking at a very, very minimalist and plain, straightforward knife. It's got a little bit of stuff for the landing pad and stuff like that in here, but for the most part, it's not breaking the mold of anything. And yet it's $380 at base cheapest configuration. When you compare it to things like this, one-to-one comparison, this is a micarta liner lock with titanium hardware. This one is just, I grabbed the giant mouse out of Italy in Elmax, so slightly less expensive steel. And some of the finer finishing aspects, like the way the lock bar is done, and it has a little bit of lock stick, okay. But beyond that, this is a very comparable knife. Yes, it's not a collab, yes, you don't have OEM work, and I get that that adds value. But this is like $220. This, and mine, came with lock slip, and even when I got sent back and came back after being fixed, it came back with detent lash, and it won't center. I don't think that's necessarily the case with most of them, as these are popular knives and people apparently have good experience with them. But that might not be the case with these. These things might come perfect too. But other than the finishing and the way the lock bar is done, and that's just a personal preference thing, the clip is the only real defining difference between these, and of course mine has aftermarket stuff. This is more expensive, but the titanium clip was what comes with it. In fact, it's right here. That's what came on it. Clip and back spacer. There's no major defining differences here. And I would expect Italy to have a higher average price point than China. This is Bestech OEM'd. That price point can be, compensated for in the fact that this is a smaller batch OEM and it's not like Bestech branded, and that makes it even smaller batch. You can understand that it adds a bit of money to it. But this is $220, this is $290, and this is actually the expensive one for Giant Mouse, because every other knife that comes in the same configuration as this is about $200, like the Jutland and everything. $200, same exact configuration, same everything, just slightly less expensive for some reason. And even this is contoured. Micarta, not contoured. So I'll even compare it here. The Axon frame lock, $290. Here's a Wii frame lock, the Esprit. I don't know if they're even still making these anymore, but it's pretty straightforward. Instead of the sculpting, you've got contouring and orange peel texture. Same basic steel. I think this is technically 20 CV. It is a Ray Laconico design, so while it bears the Wii logo, so it's a design made by Wii instead of an OEM done by Wii for an extra outside company, which, again, likely smaller batch, that will add a little bit of money. I'd even be willing to add $20, $25 to each one for that smaller batch nature and the OEM branding and stuff. This knife, whether they still make it or not, was and is, last I checked, around $220. Titanium frame lock. This knife, again, in titanium frame lock version, is $290. I just don't see them justifying their price right now. I don't know when the prices went up, because I haven't bought a Vero in quite a while, but it's just a big no. I mean, the Lux, they're one of their latest models. I really like the Lux. It's really nice looking, but it's like a slimmed down version of this. It's slimmer, it's got hollow grind and everything, but it's just a plain, completely titanium frame lock that looks very much similar, just with a slimmer, sleeker blade. At its base, that is like $375. Base. With none of the added stuff that would justify that. I mean, there you go. Riot made. Brian Nadeau, Sharp by Design, Mini Tempest. It's smaller, no doubt about that, but the Synapse is also smaller, and it's still... Let's see, what's the Synapse at base? Synapse at base, I believe, are $340. Let's just double check that. Oh, I'm sorry, the Lux is actually $395. Holy crap, I didn't even realize that. The regular base Synapse starts at $340. Yes, this is more expensive, but it's got an inlay, it's contoured, it's carbon fiber, it's got a clamshell construction, it's finished, it's Riot made, and arguably even smaller batch than Vero, who has done a lot of knives in a lot of companies. I mean, not companies, but a lot of stuff with his company, where Brian Nadeau is a custom maker who just occasionally does small runs of his production stuff. It doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't quite get there or justify their prices. And again, I'm not trying to be hard on them. I'm not trying to be mean to them. I like them. I like their models. I like the stuff. The Ergos are so-so, but overall, I do like them. I just don't understand where the prices are coming from on these. This, I'd be okay with this being $260 all day. I mean, $220 here, you add $40 for smaller batch and whatever, $260. Okay, for the titanium frame lock, maybe you push it to $270. It just doesn't add up to me. I just recently had the Wii Gavco collab, Epaulet. That's fully contoured titanium with tons of milling and texturing and speed holes, and mine had the one that I had in for review was a gray polish, and I said that was over too much money, and that was like right around the $300 mark. And that one's doing more to justify it. So this one is just, it's too far off. They're getting a little bit aggressively priced, which is a shame, because I do like them. But I just thought I needed to clarify that and explain that, and maybe it just needed to be said. Maybe I just felt like saying it. I don't... who knows, right? This is a great knife. But the Synapse is not necessarily a 300, and base Synapse XL is $385, I think. 380. That's the 380. The Lux, for some reason, with absolutely nothing on it, is $395. I don't get that one at all. That one's just out there. There's got to be something special about that, right? Here, I'm literally looking at it, right? I will literally look at the knife. There's got to be something going on with this knife. What is justifying... that $395 price point. It is manufactured by Riot, okay. You can get laser etching, but it costs more. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, no, no. Just no. You're pushing into the realm of this. And you're not hitting this. Not with the finish, not with the execution, not with the details. So, yeah, unfortunately, that's my explanation for coming down a little bit hard on them, and I'm coming down a little bit hard on them now because they're just, their prices are just not making sense to me. And I get it. Everything's bad right now. Like, all prices are going up all over the place, but I don't think these are recent and newly adjusted prices. I'll be honest with you. So, that's all. I just wanted to say that. I hate making negative videos, but, well, no, you know what? I don't even hate making negative videos. Occasionally, I think we need to make a negative video, right? We gotta come down hard on these things. I'm not trying to be annoying or thinking I'm right in some way. I'm just giving my opinion. And, my opinion is no go. So that's all. Thanks for watching, and see you guys. Have a great day. And you'll still probably be happy with the knife you get. Let's be fair. That's all.